Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. In this program today, we will be discussing about the mounting tension between India and China at the line of actual control. Situation on the line of actual control in Ladakh is dangerously poised. There is escalated tension since China tried to change the status quo in the southern part of Pangong Tso Lake by military maneuvers 2 days back. India has thwarted the Chinese move. Now China says India has trespassed the line of actual control at the southern bank of the Pangong Tso Lake and near the Reqin Pass in the western sector of the border. Amidst the war of words, both India and China have mobilized huge number of armed forces and weapon systems. Such is the situation that people are speculating that there will be a military conflict between the two countries. Will there be a war, or will the two countries be able to diffuse tensions and resolve the matter peacefully? We will discuss such questions in the agenda today with someone who has held key posts in the Indian Army and has handled Chinese transgression earlier. We have with us former Director General of Military Operations, retired Lieutenant General Vinod Bhatia. But before we start the conversation, let us have a look at this small report.
Four months after the military face-off between India and China began on the line of actual control, the situation has become more tense rather than being resolved. There have been umpteen rounds of talks at diplomatic and military levels, but no result has been forthcoming. Thanks to China's belligerent attitude, the situation has only worsened. China has been amassing thousands of troops and mobilizing heavy weapons system to the LAC over the past few months, and in the latest provocative action, it attempted to change the status quo in southern bank of Pangong Tso Lake. Indian Army thwarted that attempt and has taken measures to counter such efforts of China. The move by Chinese People's Liberation Army to change to status quo comes even as China has begun talking about peacefully ending the face-off. While talking about peace, China has been steadfastly refusing to pull back its troops from the friction points, thus preventing end to the standoff. India has been saying China is not sincerely implementing the understanding reached in talks, even at the level of National Security Advisor on disengagement of troops at the LAC. China's attitude has made the situation complex and dangerous. There is now wide speculation that there could be a military conflict, if not war, between the two countries in the near future. While it is hoped that such a situation does not arise, fingers are crossed. Bureau Report.
So let's welcome our special guest, General Bhatia. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Ajay. Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Sir, the situation on the LAC is dangerously poised. How do you see the situation?
Yes, there have been tensions. There have been tensions which are growing, and there is a difference of opinion out there. The talks have been on, and multiple level talks have been on at the brigadier level, at the major level, even at the level, fine talks. The WFCC have convened. The special representative have, of course, been talking to each other. Diplomatic talks have been on. The ambassadors have been talking on both the sides, Beijing and Delhi both. But we don't seem to have come to any agreements whatsoever. There's a disagreement even on the disengagement process,
which India says is not complete, and China says is complete. So there are tensions. We have Chinese incursions of forward deployment in areas of the Nongso, North Bank, in Dogra hot spring area, in Dipsang area as reported. So we have activities going on. However, at the friction points, the disengagement has taken place, the status quo ante has not been achieved. What has happened in the last 2 days on night of 29th, 30th, as reported is that the PLA troops were trying to occupy certain positions along the line of actual control on the Indian side, which was preempted by India. So this is something which China understands. China respects strength and China understands strength. And China has not taken it very kindly. But when they do that, they say it is only right. When Indian troops have actually stopped them, it's only preemption which they have done. They have preempted the Chinese from occupying certain heights which are technically and obviously significant. And that is where the tensions from the Chinese side now are there. And Indians are in a stronger position, both tactically and operationally, in the south bank of Pangong Tso.
So you must have read about Chinese Foreign Ministry or saying that India has transgressed, and we have also read about reports that India has captured one feature in Pangong Tso Lake area. How do you see that? I mean, Chinese statement, and do you believe that India has maybe captured something, some feature or something?
See, as reported, India has preempted Chinese occupation of certain dominating heights across the line of actual control. So that is what has been reported, and I will abide by that report. I will take that report very seriously. What China's perceptions are that India has crossed the line of actual control, that is what Chinese perception is. Let us also put it in context. Line of actual control does not have a common understanding with the Chinese perception and with the Indian perception. As for Indian perception, the Chinese were trying to occupy a certain area which is on our side, and we have preempted that. So that is where Chinese have come in, and that is something which Chinese had not assessed India's response. And this is a very good response. I think India has shown its vigil all across the vigil all across the line of actual control. But definitely in South Pangong Tso, where the Chinese do have access to a road, there's a place called road bend, they call it road bend. There's a common traditional area of transgression road there, and India has denied them this transgression across the perception of the line of actual control. So I will put it at that. I will not say that we have captured a feature or not. This is our area. We have to understand that the obstruction is our area, and we abide by the rules and regulations. We abide with the agreements. We respect the rules, and we are disciplined army, and that is where we stand. And the PIB is categorical in that. The report by the Indian Army is that we have preempted a Chinese incursion into our area.
But sir, there were earlier also reports that China has contained India's, or maybe from this restricted India from the patrolling areas in various areas, including Pangong Tso Lake or Galwan, other areas. So what is your reading on that?
Yes, they have restricted Indian patrolling in the area of north end of Pangong Tso, where they had come and occupied positions on Finger 4 and reported. After the disengagement process started, they went back to Finger 5. So there is a sort of a buffer zone out there. It is also reported Distrust they occupied certain areas which does not give us access to Distrust. I will not say that because we cannot stop the infantry from moving anywhere, and we can cross the mountains. It will be difficult for us, definitely. It will be more time-consuming, more laborious for us, but they cannot stop our access to the Distrust thing. In the area of Finger, yes, they are occupying the heights out there, and it's a narrow area which is there. So they have made the transgressions out there. They have changed the status quo out there. They have disrespected the agreements which are in place. They have disturbed the equilibrium. They have disturbed the peace and tranquility Galwan. So they have actually initiated all these changes. And thereafter, the Indian Army out there on the ground has been very vigilant, and we will not allow them any more transgressions and any more power deployment in our areas.
So I will call Chinese attitude hostile. Will you also agree to that?
Yes, definitely. It is a hostile intent. It is aggressive. It shows arrogance. But I'll also go a step further for in context. This is happening. China is doing this during the COVID pandemic, and with India definitely along the LAC in Eastern Ladakh. But it is also doing the same thing as South China Sea, against Vietnam, against Indonesia, against Malaysia, against Philippines, against Taiwan. So this is what China is doing. To put it in context, China as a sea is following a three-pronged approach. In the economic domain, it is trying to debt trap. In the diplomatic domain, it is good diplomacy, and in the military domain, it is military coercive strategy based on the thwarted strategy. The thwarted strategy being information war, public opinion, psychological operations, and legal warfare. So if you see what is happening, the tweet from the Western Theatre Command, Global Times, it is part of a well-orchestrated media war and psy-ops combined.
Psycho-ops. I think China indulges in these psycho-ops often.
You're absolutely right. This is psychological operations from Chinese side, and we should take it as such, and we should not be naive enough to believe what they say, because what they say, they do not actually mean that, and they are actually putting pressure on us and our public opinion. We are a democracy. We cannot stop any social media. We cannot stop any media. We have nearly 1,000 news channels, so we cannot really stop. But what China does is, they do not give access to their own public to the social media sites. They have their own media. They can block things. They also block channels out there. They have blocked all the Indian channels, news channels from reaching China. So this is part of a well-orchestrated psychological operations as part of the thwarted strategy. It just started in 2003, defined in 2010. We saw it during Doklam in 2017, and now the same thing is manifesting again along the line of action.
So if I may say that, are these psychological operations maybe aimed at boxing India into that 1962 mindset that since you lost that war, so you are incapable of maybe winning another war with China? Is that the sense?
Yes, they would definitely play up the 1962 war, and they would like to remind us of that. This is part of the psychological operation. But I think China has now understood that India and Indian Army and Indian Armed Forces are not the armed forces of 1962. We are very resilient in our response. We are very well, we got good defenses out there. We are deployed all along. We are combat hardened. We have altitude experience and super altitude experience soldiers and units out there. So China understands that. But yes, as part of psychological operation, definitely it keeps reminding India of 1962.
So if you talk about 1962, whatever I've heard and read, it was in fact India even then had military strength, but it was the political will which was not actually played out fully. The full armed forces, I mean the Air Force particularly, was not used, and they were restricted from carrying out the full all-out operations. Is that the correct sense?
Yes, 62 is a good study. In 62, we did not optimally use our armed forces. The army was deployed, but army was not fully equipped. There was intelligence failures. We could not discern what was going to happen out there. We had just got our independence, so we were looking at developing our nation. Our military was not up to it, and Chinese definitely took advantage of that. They kept creeping forward, and they did attack us at a time in October 1962. And we were not up to it, though. And in certain battles, we fought very, very well. Let's also, give credit where the gallant soldiers fought very well. But overall, yes, it was a defeat. And I think we learned our lessons from there. And China may have done us a small favor by 1962 in that our military preparation went up by leaps and bounds thereafter.
So as you mentioned that 1962, it was October, and now again we are approaching September, October. So many people are speculating, or some people are guessing, and some people are asking, is a war going to happen or a limited military conflict? What is your sense?
Traditionally, yes, this is the time. There are two vulnerable times. One is the September-October time, and that is why we did definitely have a high alert during that time. We go from operation alerts all along the line of action control where troops are deployed, and we have adequate troops deployed. Let me assure the nation through your channel, the Reqin channel, that we have excellent deployment, effective deployment, and we are fully deployed out there. So there is no cause for concern as such. And October is there, so what? We are fully deployed, fully prepared. We have moved our troops forward. We have matching deployment. And these are high-threat areas. We have the experience. And if China wants to do something, there can be a spiral. Yes, there can be a spiral, definitely. But I do not think it is China's interest to wage a war. Aspire definitely, skirmish could happen. There's different chance of skirmish also there. But I doubt that if China has the capacities, the capabilities, and if they wage a war, the consequences would be known to them. And they are challenging the US for supremacy, so it will hamper their national interests and aims of being a global power.
Sir, I have also been saying, and in fact, India, if we compare with China, has more experience or most recent experience of fighting a war like Kargil just 21 years back in the mountains. China has no such proven, record. So does it put India at an advantage because we have carried out real war activities and China has not?
Okay, as far as the continental defense is concerned, let me put it very bluntly. We are, let me say, best in the world. Period. There can be no denying that fact. We have proven it in Kargil, which was some time back, and the soldiers who served Kargil are still serving. Today they are the junior commissioned officers, they're the junior leaders. Our leadership is there. We have it deployed in high-altitude areas, so we are aware of what happens in high-altitude areas. Whereas China last fought a war in 1979 with Vietnam, where they want to teach Vietnam a lesson, and they came back, learned their own lessons. But I don't think they fought a high-altitude war after 1962. They have not fought a war, and 62 was many years ago. None of them would have even. They would have just even the oldest general out there would have small kids in 1962, something like me. And though I'm older to them, so we have to understand that China does not have high-altitude experience, though they have good infrastructure. There's no denying that fact. But high-altitude is a different game altogether. Experience is required, and they do not have the combat experience.
So if we want to pass on a message to China, it's like India is not 1962 stage, and we have the capacity and we have the experience of fighting in the mountains. So is that message we should convey to China?
Yes, I think we should talk more and more 1967, Nathula. I was the corps commander there. I had served out there, Nathula. We should talk about 1967. What happened in Nathula was, and this was just 5 years after 1962, we stood our ground and Chinese suffered massive casualties out there. It was a 4-day skirmish out there in Nathula, and they fought a different Indian army. They never expected that, and that was 1967. They saw this from Drongchu when they in 1986 when they came there. The way we moved, the way we found the ground took place. It took 6.5 to 7 years to resolve that. They must have definitely seen Galwan also. Galwan, we took the better of the, despite being surprised, despite it being a premeditated attack by the PLA, we took the better of them. As per all reports, they had just about 43 casualties. And yesterday or day for yesterday, what has happened is again something which China should cater for, that we have the intelligence and we have the battlefield mobility to move forward and occupy areas. We are hardened troops and we have the will and we have a resolve to defend our territories.
So you rightly pointed out 67, actually Nathula is not much talked about. In fact, that should be more talked about. And in fact, after that, China has never attempted any activity there, although they have done something in Ladakh, but not in Nathula area, Sikkim area, isn't it?
Yes, after 1967, there was no activities. In 1970, Kalumla, the party took place and the ambush, but they have not tried anything whatsoever because they understood that we have the strength and the resolve. And that is what we should be talking about 1967 rather than 1962. We should reassure our countrymen that the armed forces and the nation is strong enough, and we have the nation behind us, and we will defend our territorial integrity under all conditions.
So there are also some assessments by some so-called experts that if there is a conflict with China, Pakistan may also open a front on the western side, maybe Siachen they are at a disadvantage, maybe in Kargil. So what is your sense?
My sense is that if there is a conflict with China, Pakistan will in all probability open up a front on the western front and maybe all along. And because that is the only time Pakistan will have the audacity and a collaborative approach to fight with and to wage a war against India. So I think that is a probability, but we catered for that probability. We have fully catered for a two-front war. We catered for the probability, but China also understands that China is also vulnerable. China also opened up many fronts, and there will be others who will also take advantage of China's vulnerabilities and weaknesses. So this is geopolitics, which it's a big game. And Pakistan, we have those capabilities of a two-front war, and Pakistan understands that, of course. But yes, the probability of Pakistan waging a war with India in a collaborative approach to China is well catered for, and we are prepared for it.
But do you think it will be like the IB or maybe Siachen, or because I think Siachen they are at a disadvantage, even Kargil they are at a disadvantage. Maybe they will open front on the IB. Is that so?
Could be, but line of control, yes, line of control more probable. They would like to open up line of control. They would like to blow up Kashmir again, bottom Kashmir, which is not happening. They've tried their best. But like I said, that we have adequate forces, adequate troops on the side, and we have catered for such contingencies.
So, sir, as you just mentioned that about the distrust China, we have held so many talks, so many rounds of talks, even at the level of special representatives. But now there is distrust. I mean, you can't trust China. So even the talks are going on today. Yesterday there were talks at the local commanders level. Then how do you, I mean, now approach it? If you don't trust that, what is the meaning of talks?
I think we should talk because only when you talk you find resolutions. Yes, the trust deficit is definitely there, especially Galwan was a benchmark. It's changed everything. It has not only changed the LEC measure, it changed the India-China relation altogether. We cannot trust them. And what has happened again, they try to come and occupy certain areas in South Asia Pangong. So this is going to go on, and we have to be vigilant all along. But we have to talk from a position of greater strength, and that is where the talks do matter. And if the both sides, we talk from a position of greater strength, we will find a resolution. It may take time, and time is our side. That's not time is never an issue in such talk. But we should talk at the military level, at the diplomatic level, and if not at the political level also. But yes, China would also like to come. It's not that we are talking to China. China is talking to us. Both talks have been held in Bordo area, which is opposite Cheshul, then in Cheshul. So it is both sides are talking to each other, and China is also interested in talking to us, and that is why we are talking.
So we are running out of time. Just last one question and maybe brief. Vikas is in news, Special Frontier Force. What do you say? What would you say about it?
Vikas is actually not part of the Indian Army, and yes, Vikas is definitely in news, and that is what.
Maybe for our viewers, maybe we can explain that it constitutes of Tibetans people. I mean Tibetans, isn't it?
Yes, it does constitute of Tibetan people, and they are formed out of volunteers from Tibetan origin people, and they are a good force. Let me say that very bluntly. They are an excellent force, excellent unit, and they're thoroughly professional, and they're motivated, and they're passionate, and they have a just as well as a just cause and a moral cause to defend their territory, their land, which is their land. Which is their land.
Apparently, they gave them. I mean, they led the Indian Army in giving a bloody nose to China in the latest flare-up.
Yes, as reported, it is Vikas who were there, and they have done very well.
So we hope that this issue does not lead to war, and we are able to resolve this peacefully. Thank you so much for participating in this debate, sir.
Thank you, Jai.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic tomorrow. Till then, goodbye.